Yeah, and then at the same date, it should have been offered first. Okay, so that's the school entry.
We're going to need.
Good afternoon. I'll wait until past and then start. Okay, so today's session, we're going to be covering creating vaccination defaults that will populate onto the consultation form. We're also going to be doing some viewing and managing of the session and appointment list. We're going to input a scheduled vaccine via the appointment list, and then I'm just going to take you through the patient record, and we'll do suspending a patient, recording an opt-out, and then also striking through a vaccine. So same as the previous sessions, I'm going to walk through the screens, and then if we can do questions in the chat or hands up at the end and questions at the end of the demo. Okay then, so I'm going to make a start. So to set vaccination defaults, first of all, you need to go into a location. So I'm going to select locations and I'm going to search for my location. And select view location. So this is the overview page, which we have covered in previous training as well, but for those who haven't attended before. So this is just the overview page for the specific location, just with some quick navigation links to go into other screens. And then also you have a sessions overview of sessions that are running just for today. So what we want to do then is we want to set our vaccination defaults. So I'm going to select the vaccination defaults button. So this is the vaccination default screen. So if there are any vaccination defaults that have been set already, then they'll be listed on this page. But obviously there's none set at my location. So I'm going to go in and set one. So you press the create new default button and then you're brought to this first screen. So again, all mandatory fields are marked with a red asterisk. If I want to leave this flow, then I just press the cancel and exit button, then my changes won't be saved and I'll be returned back to the vaccination default screen. But I do want to record one. So I'm going to choose my vaccine. I'm going to do COVID-19 and continue. And on here then, this is where I would input all my defaults for the day. So you can enter all of them or just a couple of them, it's entirely up to you. I'm going to go in and fill in every single one. And then select create default. So I get a completion page then just confirming that my vaccination default has been created. So I'm going to close. And as you can see now, my vaccination default has been saved and it's showing on the screen. So it's showing the vaccine, the product, who last updated, and you also get a remove button. So if you want to remove it, you just click this button and then it'll be deleted for that location. You can also expand open by clicking on the arrow and you get to see all the details that have been set then. So it's just that if you have a lot of defaults that are showing on the screen, it's just a quicker way of reducing the information that you can see. I'm also going to go in and set one for flu. So again, just pressing the button, selecting my vaccine, and then inputting my defaults. And create. And now my vaccination default has been created. So vaccination defaults are now location level, whereas before they were user specific, but they're not now. So this will be across the whole location. So if another user goes in and uses my WIS test location, they'll be able to see the same defaults that I've created and use them as well. So from here then, we're going to go into the session list. So I'm going to navigate to the session screen. We did cover this a little bit yesterday, but we're going to go into more detail today. So as you can see then, my session list is showing me today's date and the sessions that I've got set up. It tells me any sessions that have been cancelled, and it also shows me any future sessions that have been set up. I'm going to drill down into today's session, training session. And here is our appointment list. So I've already gone in and put some people in for today. So you're always brought in onto the to-do tab, and that's basically all your appointments that have been booked for today. They'll show originally on this tab. Obviously, as you start to make your way through the appointment list, if patients have attended, then they'll move over to the attended tab. Same as DNA, if you mark any as DNA, then they'll move over to the DNA tab. Cancelled, exactly the same. You cancel any patient's appointments, then they'll go to the cancelled tab. And then we've got a free tab at the end, then just letting us know how many free slots that we've got running in our clinic for today. On the actual grid then, you can filter by time, sort by time, and you can also sort by patient name, date of birth. So it just ascends and descends based on what you want to filter it by. The rows that are highlighted in this red colour is letting me know that the patient's appointment has passed. So as you can see, the time has gone. So it's just a way of highlighting to the eye that I know these haven't shown up, or do I need to action these appointments? And what I'm going to do is I am going to mark these as a DNA. So the Mark as DNA button, it isn't enabled until you actually physically click into the checkbox. So you can mark multiple, you can mark singular, but I'm going to mark all three of mine as DNA. And as you can see now, is enabled. And now all three of my patients have moved over to the DNA tab, and they've gone off my to-do. So it's just a cleaner way of being able to manage the list. What you can also do then is you can cancel from this screen. You can cancel an appointment. So I'm going to decide to cancel this patient's appointment. So I'm going to click the ellipses on the side and click the cancel appointment. So this is the cancelling a single appointment flow. So I've got the patient details, and then I've got the appointment details as well. Just a summary, just to confirm that's what is, just to confirm the patient and the appointment. I also have to enter a reason for cancellation. If I try to cancel the appointment and I haven't entered a reason, we get the error summary at the top of the page, and we get this clickable link which will take us back to the field, just telling me that I do need to actually input a reason. So I'm just going to say inconvenient time. Again, if at any point I decide, oh, I don't actually want to cancel the appointment, I can click discard and exit, and I'll be taken back to the appointment list. But I do want to cancel it, so I'm going to click. And we get our confirmation page then, just confirming that the appointment has been cancelled, who it's been cancelled for, and the time and the date. So I'm going to close. And now, as you can see, my patient's moved off to the to-do tab, and they're now sitting under the cancelled tab. So back on the to-do tab then, what we want to do now is we're going to input a scheduled vaccine. So how we do this, you click the start button. And this will open the consultation form. So because my patient is booked in for a COVID-19 and also for a flu, the cards are already opened and the radio button is defaulted to yes. So at this point, if I decide that I don't want to give the vaccine, I'd have to say no, and the reason why I don't want to give it, because an appointment has been booked. But I do want to give my COVID, so I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to say the consent was given by the patient. And I'm also going to give the flu, and I'm going to say the same thing. It's also asking me, would I like to add another vaccine? So my patient is not currently recommended for an RSV and they don't have an appointment booked for it. However, if I did want to add, I could, and I could just expand, click yes, and follow the same flow as above. But for the sake of this demo, I'm just going to give the COVID and the flu. So it also gives me vaccines you have chosen for today's consultation. And again, it's just telling me that we're choosing to give a COVID-19 and a flu. So I'm going to press continue. You get your pre-vaccination checks. So all of these questions are mandatory. Again, if I press continue and I haven't filled in the fields, we get the error summary. I can also click back a step, so it'll take me to the previous page. And if I decide that I didn't actually want to give the flu, or something's happened during the consultation, and I say, or I just want to amend anything on that first page, I can just click back a step and go back. So I'm going to answer my questions and press continue. So now it's asking me, has the vaccine been given? So again, you can say yes or you can say no. So I'm going to say yes for the COVID-19. The date and time of vaccination will always default to today's date and time. If you have vaccination defaults set up at your location, this is where you'll be able to select them from the drop down. So you'll see this use vaccination default with the drop down, and I can select it. And as you can see then, it's pre-populated my form. If you don't have any default set at your location, you just won't see this field at all. So that's pre-populated all my fields for me. It's asking me, has my patient had an adverse reaction? I'm just going to say yes. Select the type and then insert any notes. And now it's asking me, has the flu been given? So if I was to click no here, I would have to say the reason for not vaccinating and has the consent been withdrawn? And then this would be recorded on the patient's record as a not given. But for the demo, I am going to give a flu as well. And again, you'll see the same drop down asking, do you want to use the vaccination default? Which I do. So I'm going to select. And the same question, did the patient have an adverse reaction? And I'm just going to click no. And then press continue. So here is our summary page. So we can go back to any section of the consultation flow. If we click change, it'll take us straight back to that page and we can change any answers. What we have then also at the bottom, we have, do you want to suspend appointments and vaccination details? So if I click yes, I can suspend my patient's appointments. So you can also use the calendar to select a date as well. Name a vaccinator, just select a vaccinator from the list, and then the vaccination location, it has defaulted to the location the appointment has been booked at, and I can't edit this now. So if you was to input in an unscheduled vaccine or a walk-in vaccine, you would get the drop-down list option to select from a choice. However, because my appointment has actually been booked at this location, it's defaulted and I can't edit it. And I also got the option to select a payment to, again, and notes. I'm going to submit. And now I get a confirmation page just telling me that the consultation has been complete and the patient's vaccination record has been updated. So I'm going to close and I'm returned back to the appointment list. And now my patient has moved over to the attended tab and their status has been updated to vaccinated. If I was to have recorded and not given, it would still be under the status of vaccinated. So we've attended a patient, we've recorded a vaccine, we've mapped them as we've mapped a few patients as DNA, and we've also cancelled an appointment. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into a patient's records and input a suspense from there and also an opt-out. So let's find my patient. Patient search. So I'm going to go into the patient records. So the patient record will always open on the profile tab, and the profile tab is their demographics. So as you can see, it's split into sections. We've got personal information at the top, health, we've got any contact information and occupation. Fields that have got an edit next to them, obviously they can be edited. So if I go in and select the edit button and I want to, for example, insert a mobile number, if I decide, oh, I don't actually want to do that, I can press cancel and it won't save my changes. But if I did, click Save Changes, and then you get a little tick and a green saved message, just letting you know that it has been saved. So that's the same for all the fields that have got the edit button by the side of them. So our vaccinations tab, at the top here, we've got our vaccines that are recommended. We've got the earliest due date and also the latest due date. And we've got a booking status. So if they have an appointment booked, this will display booked in a green tag. And also you've got a link to book them an appointment. So it'll take you into the manual bookings flow. Underneath them, we've got the vaccination history, and you can filter this by the year and also by the vaccines that have been given. So you'll get if a patient has had a COVID and flu, you'll get the option to select flu in here as well, just to filter it down. The appointments tab. Again, you've got a link to the manual bookings flow, so you can book an appointment, and it's telling me which vaccines I have available to book, and that's based off their recommendations. You also get the option to start a walk-in, so that'll navigate you to the consultation form, and that'll be like inserting an unscheduled result. Booked appointments then, as you can see, my patient's got a lot of booked appointments, but this is just test data. So all your booked appointments will display here, and you'll get an option to cancel. If the appointment is for today's date, you'll also be able to start a consultation from here as well. And at the bottom then we've got appointment history. So this is telling you if the patient, all the patient's appointment history, if they've attended and it's not been given, if they've attended and it has been given, if they've been marked as a DNA, or if they've cancelled their appointment. And you'll be able to click on these tabs and it'll filter down the information for you. And you can also filter it by year as well. So opt-out, we're going to record an opt-out for the patient. So if a patient has got previous opt-outs, they'll be shown on this screen, but because they haven't, we can't see it at the moment. So I'm going to go in and record an opt-out. So in this design then, you can opt out of a specific vaccine. So I'm going to select COVID-19, and I'm going to opt my patient out of a COVID-19. So what we have then is the vaccine name, the fact that they've opted out, and then who last updated. If I want to go in and opt them out for a flu as well, I can just click the link, select the flu vaccine, and opt them out for flu. And same again if I want to do for RSV. So that's all my opt-outs then showing on the screen. If I want to remove I just press the remove link by the side, and my patient, and it's now been removed from my patient's record. To suspend a patient, you go into the suspense tab. So if they don't have one on their record already, it'll be defaulted to no. And to record one, you just click the edit button, suspend appointments and click yes, and insert your suspense date. Again, you can use that wherever there is a calendar symbol, you can use the calendar to search for a date as well. Add any notes. And if I decide I don't actually want to do that, I can press cancel, but I do, and I'm going to press save changes. And as you can see now, it's recorded that my patient has got a suspense date. It's telling me the date, the notes, the date it was recorded, and who it was recorded by. If I navigate back to the vaccinations tab, we now have a banner on the tab, which is telling us that the appointments have been suspended and the patient is on holiday. So if I decide, okay, I need to remove this now, I can just press the edit button and it'll take me back to the suspend tab, and I can either choose to extend the date, or I can say, oh, actually, I don't need to suspend them anymore. I'm just going to select no and save my changes. So then we've got the notes tab on the end. And as you can see, my note that I've just created alongside the suspense is showing me who last updated it, the date it was created, and the actual note itself. So you can remove a note. You get the option on the left. So if you click the remove button, you have to choose one of the 4 options. So I'm just going to choose content error and save the changes. And my note is now stricken through. So there's no archiving of a note anymore. It'll just be a strike through. And what it will tell me is that the record has been removed by myself, and it'll tell me the date, the time, and also the reason why it's been removed. I'm going to show you a strike through of a vaccine. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, so going to vaccinations, this is the patient that I gave a COVID and a flu vaccine to earlier. So what you can see then in the vaccination history is the date, the flu vaccine that I gave, and also the COVID-19 vaccine that I gave, location, and the health board. So if I click view record on the flu, it's given me a summary of the vaccine record, so all the information that I've input on the consultation form. And I also now have got the ability to remove it. So again, it won't be a complete delete or an archive, it'll be a strike through. And you will need an additional activity to be able to see this remove button. If you don't see the remove button, that's probably why. It's because you don't have it assigned to your role. So I'm going to press remove. Again, I get the same options as if I was to strike through a note. So I'm just going to say that it was a duplicate entry, and I'm going to save the changes. And now, as you can see, it's telling me that the record has been removed by myself. It's given me the date, the time, and the reason. And you can see on the vaccination record, it is now stricken through. And if I click back, it's also showing on the vaccination history as well. So I can do the same for the COVID-19. Click remove, duplicate, and save the changes. And again, same information. So I press close and return to vaccination history. And now my counter is also updated. As before it was 3, it's now only showing 1 because we've gone in and essentially removed those vaccines. So that is pretty much it for the demo. I'm going to move to any questions now, if anybody has any. Just stop sharing my screen, 2 seconds. Reese?
Hi, yes. I just wanted to check when cancelling the appointments, you had the drop-down options for reasons given.
Yeah.
Was opt-out on those one of those options? And if so, I do have a follow-up.
Was opt-out on there? Good question. Let me just check. No.
Okay.
No, it's not one of the options in the list at the moment.
Right. Okay. Never mind then, because I was. So is that like to be added, or if someone is calling up to cancel an appointment because they don't want the vaccine, what would you recommend picking as the alternative option then? And then obviously proceeding to then put an opt-out in.
So you've booked a patient an appointment, but they're calling up because they want to opt out, so you want to cancel it. So what reason?
Yeah, so obviously they don't want the appointment. So they've been booked in for an appointment. We've sent them automatic appointments. They're calling up saying they don't want it. They want to opt out. So the reason would be they want to opt out.
Yeah.
So if the option isn't there, what option should you then put in?
I'm not entirely sure what you would choose to record it as, but just because it's there at the moment doesn't mean it's not something that can't be added. So it's a
Okay.
really good thing to
If
point
it
out.
does get added then,
Mhm.
would that automatically put an opt-out into their account, or would we have to do that as another option then on top?
Yeah, if opt-out was an option in that list, it wouldn't automatically just opt them out. You'd still need to go into the screen and physically opt them out as well.
Right. Okay.
But I will keep you posted on that, Reese. I'll have a chat after this meeting and see if that's something that can be added into the list.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Charis?
Oh, thanks, Bethan. Just a couple of things. Some of them have come up in the chat, so I know you'll be visiting those later. But from a nursing point of view, there's quite a few places where in the past we would have had the ability to add notes in. So, for example, if a patient has an allergy, we wouldn't be comfortable probably with just saying yes, the patient has an allergy. We'd want to be able to make a note as to what the allergy is, how it affects them, etc. And the same with medications. You know, one of the questions we ask routinely is if they're on any blood thinners or other medications that might have an impact on whether we would give that vaccine. And again, there doesn't seem to really be anywhere to make a note of that, unless I've missed it. And then the last bit that I spotted with regards to notes is just, you know, even things like the opt-out, it would be really helpful to have a little box along with the actual opt-out section, a bit like you did with the suspend, where you could write a few notes as to the conversation you've had with that person. Again, they may not enter into conversation, but they might be able to explain, you know, they might be willing to explain why they don't want to. And that would be really helpful information for future knowledge.
Okay.
So, thank you.
No, that's fine. So the first question, on the consultation form, if you select yes to an adverse reaction, you do have a notes box.
Did it come up and I missed it?
That's okay, it's fine. Yeah, there
Sorry.
is no problem at all. There is a notes box on there, so you can
That's great.
record a note in there, and then
Okay.
at the end on vaccination details, there's also another note section as well. So like you asked saying about the question to do with medication, you could pop it in that notes
there.
box. In terms of the opt-out, no, there's not a note section on there. You could record the opt-out and then go into the notes screen and create a new note. But I do understand what you're saying for easyability when you're in that screen already and you're already discussing.
That would be really helpful.
That makes sense. Yeah, no problem. Thank you for raising that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Again, yeah, I know there are questions in the chat, but I will answer afterwards. Kate?
Hi there, good afternoon. I apologise, Beth, and I've come in slightly later, so I've had a meeting clash, but I just wanted to ask, it may have already been covered, when you're going through the consultation and going through the consent process, is there either a box, a kind of free text box to document mental capacity assessment in the event where the patient may lack capacity, so there wouldn't be consent as such, so you'd have to make either a best interest decision, or it's just to try and capture that narrative within a consultation?
There's not at the moment, so it's not a free text. So if you select yes, it'll give you a list of it's a pre-populated list of options, but when you select no, you have to just provide a reason of no. So at the moment that is not in there, but it would be useful to probably catch up about that and have a wider discussion outside of this.
Yeah, that's great.
If
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Sue?
Hello, it's really related to WIS, but probably not related to what you do. So I'm speaking on behalf of all the midwives in Powys, and we vaccinate our women with flu and with RSV and with pertussis. And we obviously don't have an appointment system, so we only go in and look for, we put in our location. So I'll put in Brecon Birth Centre and then I'll search for the woman and then I'll go through all the things that you did. So we don't have to do the appointments. But my WIS does not look anything like yours does, which was my first question. I can check what mine looks like if you really want. So I don't even have those facilities that you did at the beginning to put a default thing in.
This is training for the new release, so this is what you'll get at the end of August. Sorry, this is in preparation for the new release.
And is that what mine's going to look like come August then?
Yes.
And then when you're doing the new release, I beg you on my knees, can you please put pertussis in it? Add cell. Because at the moment we the midwives will see a woman and they'll consent her and give her flu on her first visit, and then they come at 16 weeks and they have to do a paper form, and then they have to go into WPAS and put that they've given it. So they're really fed up because they have to put it in 7 places. And then when they come back at 28 weeks, they can go into WIS again and put it on WIS with their consent. And I'm not getting information put on. So if you could put pertussis on, I will be a very happy person.
I think that's probably something for outside of the training and probably not my decision to make.
No,
so I'd like to say yes, I can do that, but I don't think I have that sort of power. But it's definitely something to have a conversation around for sure. So I'll arrange some time if that's okay, Sue, and then maybe we can have a conversation with it outside of the training.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Okay. I'll answer all questions in the chat, and this recording will be available to access after the meeting's ended as well. So just want to say thank you everybody for attending again today and being patient with me. I really do appreciate it. So thank you everybody.
Thank you, Bethan.
Thank
you. Bye.
You only need to come once. You don't have to come.